Hi everybody. So I want to touch on what's going to happen after the agreement because there is a phenomenon that occurs that people need to kind of be aware of, and they need to know how to operate and navigate through it. So when you remove so many things at once, it's almost equivalent to if you were to take a huge vacuum cleaner and suck out all the bad stuff, let's say from your garage, all the yucky junk and the small stuff and everything that can be sucked out. What remains is these big items, and these more major topics that are more specific to you. And so once that happens, they stick out like a sore thumb, and they tend to trigger you more. And so the way to address this is what you need to do. You're going to get a notepad, and you're going to write down all the thoughts that you're having, all the memories that are triggering, and anything that's emotionally triggering you after this. And I want you to make a nice long list. And once you have accomplished that, you can either try to achieve the common denominator amongst these, or you can set up an appointment with me and we'll see if we can just get it all out in one shot, which would be great. And yes, it is possible to do. It's what we've been doing. So basically the idea is to understand that from a list of maybe 5 or 6 pages of things that you're thinking of in that week or two, really it's going to be only a couple. There's really, when you boil it down, it's going to be maybe only 1 or 2, maybe 3 things. There could be more, but really it's going to be those things that are more specific to you that I haven't been able to account for. I can't account for every experience on the list right now, so that's where that's at. And you're going to need to do a little bit of your own work on this as far as making that list. And then once you've got that list together, the idea is that either if it's a person that does this type of work, I'd recommend anybody that's doing heart-based or trauma clearing, or somebody that can get into the subconscious mind work, anybody that has the ability to do a top-down view of this thing and look at your list and figure out what the common denominator is. If you're seeing a therapist, you're going to tell them this is what you need them to do. You're going to take it in there with you and you say, we need to get to the bottom of what the common denominator is of the things that are on this list so that I can get it gone. And they're not going to understand what you're talking about, probably. But that's okay. If you can just work with them to figure out what it is that's at the root of this, okay? And a lot of the time, you will find that the root of it is probably going to go back a ways, or it was some very, fairly traumatic event. We tend to kind of block those things out. And so you need to find the earliest experience that you had that was really triggering this particular issue. And that's the goal. I'm going to get into that more later, explaining, kind of what that looks like and how you can QA it down with muscle testing. And, a muscle test, I'll go into it a little bit more. It's really just about using the field to figure out the yes-no statements of your subconscious mind. So if I said yes, it would hold, or if I said my name is Tina, it would hold. But if I said no, it will release when I try and pull it, because I'm trying to hold it together. And then when I try and pull, it gets weak when I say something that's not true to my body, to my subconscious mind. So when I say no, it slips. I say my name is Fred, it's going to slip. And so basically what you're doing is you're doing QA within yourself with well-placed, well-done questions to get to the bottom of what these things are that are causing you to trigger. And you can kind of narrow it down that way. So if you're not sure, there's ways to do that. I will get into that in a later video. So I wanted to bring this up because people have this surprise, why am I so emotional all of a sudden, over these things? It's because those are the big things. And once you clear those out, by the way, that's where you're going to have the best changes. So whatever's left, those things are going to move mountains for you once you've moved them. Okay, so that's kind of what to expect after the agreement. I want people to understand, this can look like, I had one person that had a trauma in kindergarten that kept manifesting through their life. They were getting attacked. They got attacked by a boy, and then it was like in private, and then they kept having attacks in private, and then eventually it became the belief was I'm getting attacked by men, and then it became much wider, and then there are offshoots from that, right? So there's other traumas that trigger from that, and eventually the person ended up, not leaving the house anymore because they're just too scared to, certainly didn't get into any relationships after that because it was just too scary. So this is the kind of thing. It's like this is something that happened in kindergarten, and you're still carrying it. It's kind of crazy. But our brains are just wired everything is very backwards. The brain makes all these associations, and when we're kids, it makes even worse associations. And the heart, which is really where it's supposed to process at a higher level, in a state that's not in fear, where it can access higher understanding, we can't access it, and so the brain's doing what it can to try and get us through the day, but really the heart is where it's at. The heart's what's supposed to be doing the work, that coherence, that connection to higher thinking and higher communal understanding, and this, ability to really grasp the concepts and the lessons and process these things in and out of our systems in a healthier way. That's not present. And so we end up with all these broken associations. It's all very crazy, and our subconscious mind runs 90% of our life. And so you don't know what's back there. I've told people before, it's almost like, you're driving a truck, and there's so much stuff in the back, but you have no idea what's back there. All you know is you can barely drive because the thing is just on the ground. It's so weighted down. And so when you just, basically what we're doing is just dumping the bed out, and there's some real big heavy things in there. You're just going to have to get a couple people for them, move it out. So it's kind of like that. So if you are a little bit more emotionally triggered afterwards, you'll definitely experience that a lot of the stuff that was bothering you isn't anymore. It's just like, it looks like, 20 or 30 things, but really it's just 2 or 3, that came from this 1 or 2 or 3, whatever events in your life early on when we made the worst possible associations. I hate saying it, it's all our parents' fault, but really a lot of the associations that got broken, it's because when we were kids, most of our experiences really were with our parents and stuff. So it does happen. There is a lot. It's often child related. When you were in your childhood, a lot of it goes back that far. So be looking for it in that bracket first. It's super easy to get through this stuff. I've had people that have been in decades of therapy, serious therapy, and they could not even understand, like, how is it so easy to do this? Like, they're going into their therapist telling them what it was the whole time, and the therapist's like, oh, yeah. It really is surprising how easily this works, and I'm not anti-therapy. I think therapy works if you are holding the right agreements. You can move through stuff if you know how to take an observant view of yourself, and if you're you're not chasing all this other stuff that's going on, because you also have mind chatter coming in from the system stuff that's going on. I'll talk about that later. But some of the thoughts aren't even yours, which is really makes it so much more fun and interesting. So that's the stuff we have to account for. It's like some of the things coming in aren't even ours. Some of them are. Some of it's from the trauma. The stuff that's happening is triggering the stuff that's happened to us. So if the kid in kindergarten attacks you, and that's a vulnerability. Now everything that's going on all around you is going to use that vulnerability and keep using it and keep using it. It's like a hot button, right? Like, this is fun. Watch, we can make them all crazy over here. It's kind of like that effect. So you just need to identify what that is. And so your goal after this agreement is to get a notepad, get diligent, try to be observant, pay attention to what's left. Your mind should be much clearer. And so really what you have is yours, and you need to really iron that out. So don't be surprised if you get a little emotional. That's okay. You're going to use it to your advantage, and you're going to start making that list, and then get some good statements put together. I'll get into that later about kind of how to do this question-answer process and how to walk yourself through it and how to identify based on, time frames and individuals or circumstances. And, there's ways to muscle test our way through that. And, even if you can't, there's still ways to deal with this. So, and please know that you can also be muscle tested by proxy. So if you can't figure it out, and you've done everything you can, and you've tried doing it in a more of a generic way, like I'm holding trauma from kindergarten from some boy, it's like that if that's not enough, you can't figure it out, we can do muscle testing by proxy, because of the way energies work and the way the fields work, and they've been able to show this with science. So don't get disheartened. This really is one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. And it's based on really I boiled it down from the most powerful things I've ever seen and then put them together to make it even more powerful, and in a way that I thought was going to be the fastest possible way to get people from 0 to 60. So that's, but there is a level there where it needs to be intentional, and we need to have some awareness. I mean, we may need to take a look at the things that haven't cleared, because they may mean that we're going to take a new change in our life, or they may lead us to take a course correction or life path type situation. So think about that too. That's pretty much all I have on this. I just wanted to make sure that people understand. Also, please drink lots of water. Really, this is accounted for the most gentle, loving, healing process you can imagine. It, because of the quantum and all the intention, the programming that I put into to doing this in that way. Sometimes there's a little bit of weight gain, but don't be alarmed; it will pass. Your body really does have to release this stuff from the cells, and in some cases, weight can be a response to release of toxins, because it kind of captures out while it processes it. But I did put in a lot of programming for that to not happen. So if there's any of that, it really, the only time I've seen that a little bit, but it really does pass, and you just lose it again. So don't worry about that. But please drink lots of water. Please take good care of yourselves. Know also, your food has energy, it has charge in it, so try if you can to get some healthier food in you. Be wise. I mean, there's a lot of programs in here to help you put your own charge on food while you're eating it, or put your own charge onto your water and stuff that you're drinking, and that's great. But it still is, obviously, I wouldn't fully rely on that. I mean, we should be trying to take care of our whole self. So really consider the whole self. And also, I'm going to encourage you to get embodied. I put language in there for getting embodied, at least on the mental faculty of it, but after this, I'm hoping people are going to feel better. You start doing this self-love process. Also includes walking or yoga, or anything that you are inspired by or you wanted to do. If you can find an activity that's going to make you feel more alive and more in your body, more in nature, please do these things. This is all acts of self-love. If you've always forgone buying something for yourself that you wanted, within reason, or if you're the last to ever, like for me, I was the last to ever get myself clothes. Everybody else is something simple, stupid like this, right? It's like, go do something nice for yourself every once in a while. You don't get carried away. I mean, you're not going into debt here, but it's really just about doing these little things to show yourself that you love yourself. Okay? They are important. They do matter. And you're starting to set this through your action. You're starting to set this precedence of, I love myself, I care about myself. And just doing this process, you're doing that. But you want to continue to do that. I mean, if you love someone, you do nice things for them. So you need to consider yourself into this equation. And I really want to emphasize, we really are small children. I mean, in the big scheme of things, we're very little, and so I want you to be compassionate towards yourself. Start thinking about yourself as just, you're a little kid. You're little. You're learning. You're growing. You have a lot working against you. We're lacking the ability to access so much information on a conscious level. So be compassionate with yourself. If you make mistakes, oh well. The whole goal of a mistake is to learn and to grow, and nothing happens in life that's any good that didn't start with some form of failure somewhere. So this is, in some ways it's trial and error, but really be kind to yourself. Start treating yourself like you love yourself. Do little things to try and, show yourself this. Maybe walk, even if it's once a week. Even if all you do is just, turn off the TV a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do here to try and show yourself that you love yourself through your actions. Do the embodiment work that's going to, keep you, healthy and feeling good and feeling alive. So that's I think all I have on this. I'm available. There's a lot of people that do this work. I've got them listed in the book. I've got them in the citations. I have deep love for all the people that have gotten me into this corner as far as being able to make movements so quickly for me and for the people that I care about and the people that I'm working with. It's kind of a corroboration of the best, and so them being on there is basically, they are outstanding. So check out their work as also, and if you need to make an appointment with them also or go to classes with them, that would be spectacular. Anyway, take care of yourselves.